WWE 2K26 had a ton of hype building up for weeks with rumors and leaks, but then once the official trailer and gameplay trailer dropped, it turned into a complete disaster with a ton of problems that fans are rightfully upset about. Starting with the Ringside Pass, it was a good idea in theory. Everyone's really doing a battle pass, and it's a lot of fun to have to, go through, unlock stuff, get new rewards. But the problem is, it's replacing the DLC, and the DLC everyone is hyped about. You get the automatic supercharger, and you get everything immediately once it drops. But now you're making fans wait, and it's got a lot of people upset. But the real reason people should be upset about this whole Ringside Battle Pass system is the fact that they're trying to bait you into buying the game without even knowing who's going to be in this Ringside Battle Pass DLC. And it's pretty ridiculous to me. 2K's trying to say, yo, pre-order the game from now to February 20th, and we'll give you 15,000 VC. Cool, man. You can buy maybe one shirt on the island with that VC. Fantastic. But the problem is they're saying that, but then refusing to release who's in the DLC Battle Pass. And if we go historically, last year, I believe the game dropped on March 7th for early access. When did the DLC information drop? Who's going to be in each DLC? Not until March 5th. So based on the track record of that history along with the years past, they're trying to bait you into pre-ordering probably a higher tier version than you'd really want to get just for 15k VC because they refuse to drop the DLC. And in my opinion, that's not just bad business practice, that's a pretty much slap in the face to the audience. But luckily, if you're someone who doesn't really care about, the Battle Pass, you're just either pre-ordering the Standard Edition just so you get the game, or pre-ordering the King of Kings Edition just to get early access. Good on you, you're lucky. But if you're someone who wants DLC content, you're kind of getting screwed because you don't know which version to get, and they're trying to bait you with 15k VC. So please do not pre-order this game until they drop the DLC. The 15k VC is not worth it if you're going to overspend. Please don't do it, because this complaint by everyone is 100% valid. When the gameplay trailer dropped, people were hyped about some new models, but also people were pretty upset about some models that were not touched, and it's really hurting the overall aspect of the game. It would make a whole lot of sense if they came out and said, we're going to update people, the higher tier superstars, like your Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, Rhea Ripley, more often than some other lower tier superstars. I personally wouldn't have an issue with that, as more people want to play with those top stars, so it makes a whole lot of sense to update them more often. However, that's not even the case. They're tossing some big names to the side and not caring about them. We've complained for years about Bayley's model being just terrible. Last year, the face models finally seemed to be pretty solid, but the body model was terrible. It honestly looked like she was abusing Ozempic in game. She was so thin and not even close to matching up with her real body type. And now I was assuming that this year it would finally get it right because they knew to fix the face last year. The body wasn't there. Everyone complained about it. I thought in the gameplay trailer we would get it, but nope. It's the same incredibly thin body model that doesn't come close to how she looks in real life. People have already been tweeting about it. I've seen people tweeting developers. Developers done a good job responding to people, but unfortunately, with how often they are getting, asked questions, receiving feedback on Twitter, I haven't seen them acknowledge it. Unfortunately, I'm really hoping they did see it though, because I assume they would. This needs to be fixed, hopefully before release, but at least down the line. The controversy over attires and models did not stop there though. Jade Cargill, another top star, currently the WWE Women's Champion for 3 months now, a top star in the company. You're thinking she's going to get updated, it's going to be a great update for her. And yes and no. Her model, face update, new hairstyle, looks great. Don't get me wrong, everyone loves that. But her attire, so last year's attire, her green attire, decent attire, right? She wore that in September of 2024. So we're thinking this year, okay, we'll get something new from 2025. No, this one's even older, June 2024. And even Jade Cargill took to Twitter to comment on this saying, yeah, because out of all the gears I've worn, y'all choose one from 2 years ago is crazy. I spend way too much money on my gears, which are always top notch. And she's right. The fact that in game she's using an attire from almost 2 years ago on the dot is insane. I just don't understand it, and I get it. 2K loves, the devs love to choose which, attires they like best. But you cannot tell me nothing from this year should have been chosen. It makes no sense. And honestly, the backlash behind it from Jade Cargill herself and the fans is rightfully given. Also, there's other issues with some models, Kane being a big one, but for what it's worth, that's going to get fixed before release. Little things like that Some people wouldn't say little, but you know what I mean. Things like that do get fixed over time, and especially before the game releases. That one's a guaranteed fix, by the way. Just so you don't got to complain about that. But overall, Bayley and Jade Cargill, those are two huge issues, and you really hate to see it for the women's division on this base roster. And we have huge controversy over the disaster release, really, of the first look at the new match types, the dumpster match. Everyone was talking about it before even the gameplay trailer. We're thinking, hopefully this is not the same thing as the casket match. Hopefully it's not the same button mashing, same animations. And then we get the gameplay trailer, man. It looks the exact same. It's just a reskinned casket match. Listen, I at least will play it one time, maybe twice, have a little fun with it. But ultimately, I've played the match type before. We've all played it. I think the only real difference is going to be you can set the dumpster on fire. You know, I guess that's pretty cool. But dude, if it's just a reskinned casket match, we needed something different. We've been asking for something different. All the match types should not play the same, which also leads me to my other big issue with the I Quit match. We don't know it yet, but I'm going to be honest, it looks very similar to submission matches as well. The same button mashing to quit or not quit. If that's also button mashing the same way submissions are, I'm not going to say it wasn't expected, but it would be honestly pretty disappointing. You know, at least you get the differences, and you know, the ref walking around with the superstars, continually putting the microphone out. So there's some different nuance to make it separate from a submission match, but ultimately the same mechanics behind it. It's just a problem. We want something new. We want innovation, and it feels like they just want to make everything the same. If every match has the same mechanics, is it really different match types? Is it? Because it's not as something like totally different than like a Hell in a Cell or Steel Cage, where it's a totally different environment, different mechanics, everything goes differently in those. It's just you're building a bunch of different match types off the same mechanics, and nothing feels unique, nothing feels special, nothing feels worthwhile playing again and again and again when this is the case. And it's honestly a big problem. And honestly, I think people are rightfully upset about it because we just need some innovation. We need something different. That's what we've been asking for. I just don't feel like we're getting it outside of the Inferno match. So at least that's a good addition as a match type. And now we have Universe Mode. Universe Mode, we were all hoping for some huge changes, specifically triple threat rivalries, fatal 4-way rivalries, faction rivalries, and some other big things. And we just did not get it. It's been my one really complaint for Universe Mode for years now. And it's upsetting we did not get it. We got the draft, which is cool, but it's a once-a-year thing. It's not going to be huge, impactful. You have new promos. Excited for that. I expected that. I made a video talking about how that was pretty much a guarantee this year based on the Pro Wrestling Shoots interview with the dev from almost a year ago. Shout out him for bringing us that news like 10 months ago. And then also there were some other updates. Seemingly making just the show better. Feels like there's going to be some new things announced with kind of like the Creation Wizard pretty soon. But ultimately, we just didn't get a huge update, and people are pretty upset about that. Specifically, once again, the no 3-person, 4-person, and faction rivalries. And honestly, while it does feel like a down year for Universe Mode, I'm actually going to come to 2K's defense here. Listen, between all the gameplay updates, which I have not talked about because those have been received very well, just because we're not getting a whole bunch of Universe Mode updates doesn't necessarily mean Universe Mode is not going to be better. There's an issue with correlation and causation behind, you know, how Universe Mode is perceived and how people think it's going to be much better, because people want to correlate how much it's added with, you know, how well Universe Mode will play out that year. But in reality, a lot of it's going to come down to gameplay. Because think about it like this. Yeah, we're only getting promos is really the big addition. The draft's cool and all, you know. But with so many gameplay updates from the weapons and the thumbtacks, shopping cart, those will be used for your big PLEs. You can just separate them out, which new of those weapons gets used on different PLEs to make your new PLEs exciting. Also, the double stacking tables. Think about all the spots you can use for your Money in the Bank, for a Hell in a Cell match of Bad Blood. When you lay out all these different, you know, gameplay additions, and even the new match types, an Inferno match would be cool to add. You can use a dumpster match if you know, I crapped on it a little bit. You can use it once in a while. When you add up all the big gameplay differences and spread them out across your Universe Mode calendar, those gameplay additions actually make Universe Mode even better than a bunch of additions to strictly Universe Mode themselves would have been. And people might disagree with me on that. It is what it is. I built a huge Universe Mode audience here, and people will disagree with me on that, but honestly, my take is that gameplay updates can make universe mode just as much better as some universe mode updates would be. So for me, I get the people are upset for some things over universe mode about not getting a huge update for it this year, but ultimately it doesn't mean it's going to be a bad year for universe mode. Let it all play out. The gameplay is going to make the game so much better this year. And I think you all are going to be thinking a little bit more later on about how maybe you weren't totally right, maybe not totally wrong, but at the end of the day, we'll see how it all plays out. While this video was a way to go over all the big issues and big talking points, I do got to say I am very excited for this game still. I'm very critical of the big problems just because I feel like the problems that we do have and we've seen this past week are things that need to be fixed like right now. And that's the only reason I'm making this video. I'm very excited for the game. I love a lot of the new gameplay updates. I think it's going to be much better than last year. And if I'm being honest, even with all these problems, I'm more hyped for this game than I've been for probably any game since 2K22 after taking that 1 year off. At the end of the day, I'm not going to be a guy who hates on 2K. I know a lot of people do. I have people in my comments who consistently come in here, shit on the devs. I don't really vibe with that. I'm going to be honest. I will hit on the problems, but I'm not going to go down here saying the devs are lazy, the devs don't do this, devs don't do that. Honestly, they do their job. They have budgets. They have things they need to work on given down to them by the talking heads at the top. So at the end of the day, please respect the devs on Twitter. Don't go around shitting on them. We don't got to be doing any of that. Let's point out the problems and hopefully they can get fixed. And with that, make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.